I didn't imagine myself being able to take somebody's life until I had my daughter. I could get mad at people. I could beat the hell out of people. But as far as like protecting her, I will end you. And I never want to do that. God, please don't put me in that situation. I don't want to be in that situation. But this is the reality of it. That's how much I love my daughter.
My ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond.
This topic right here of this video, 3 sacrifices that basketball parents have to make, is something that I wish was out when I was a child. When I was in elementary school playing for the Dayton Mohawks in 4th and 5th grade, when I moved to Indianapolis in 6th grade and played on my AAU teams and then played for West Lane Middle School or whatnot, and then matriculating into high school. I wish a video like this existed. I wish a podcast like this existed for my parents to really understand what it's going to take to make your little boy's dreams come true. Before I get into the 3 sacrifices, if you are a parent, and you have a child that's really into basketball, specifically a boy, because that's the vantage point that I can speak from. If everything that he does is basketball, if he sees the world through the lens of basketball, if he's always watching basketball, he's always reading basketball, if he's dressing, whether he's going to basketball games or going to school or going to church, he always makes sure he has some sort of basketball in his attire. Any analogies he gives, he's talking about basketball. You have a kid who is passionate about something, and he is at the point where he needs you to take that passion from a dream and you need to help him turn it into an occupation. Now, you might not feel like you are equipped enough to do that, but God don't make no mistakes. He gave you that little boy for a reason. There are gifts that exist inside of him that you got to help cultivate, and you got to bring it out. There's a lot of things that are going to make you very uncomfortable. There's going to be situations where you're going to feel completely blindsided, completely uneducated, completely out of place. That's normal in this game. That's normal in the basketball ecosystem. There's no one in the basketball ecosystem that feels comfortable all the time. Maybe players when they're on the court. But besides that, that's not the case. I can say this, Adam Silver probably doesn't feel comfortable all the time talking about basketball or being in certain basketball rooms. That's just how this industry is. Because you cannot be everything in this industry by being, and by everything I mean being one of the greatest players ever, or the greatest player ever, or the all-time leading scorer in LeBron James, and then being someone who's the commissioner of the NBA like Adam Silver, or the executive director of USA Basketball like Sean Ford and Grant Hill. You know, these are things that are individual positions, but everybody has power within that. So as a parent, you are not going to feel comfortable all the time. There's no training on this. There's no degree you can get. There's none of that. You're listening to this podcast because this is a basketball lovers podcast, and it's the only place that I know that you're going to get this information. This is invaluable information. This is 12-year-old Dorian speaking through 38-year-old Dorian to tell you what you need to do for your 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old son to make his dreams turn into an occupation that he's going to love going to and participating in every single day. So if you're a parent, you need to lock into this episode and listen to it over and over. If you know somebody that has a kid, has a son, that's really investigating, scratching that basketball itch, send this to them. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Click all the links in my bio. Visit basketballceo.com and make sure that this podcast gets to as many people as you possibly can, because this is invaluable information that can help parents and players across the board. The first sacrifice that parents are going to have to make, if you're a basketball parent, is emotional support. When you're a parent, I have a daughter. When you're a parent, you feel like that you are giving your child everything that you possibly can emotionally, because the love you have for your child is proprietary. It doesn't exist in any other form. I've never felt the love that I have for my daughter before, and I still ain't felt it with nobody else since she's been here. It's a special bond, special relationship. I tell people this all the time, and this is just me being real about being a father. I didn't imagine myself being able to take somebody's life until I had my daughter. I could get mad at people. I could beat the hell out of people. But as far as like protecting her, I will end you. And I never want to do that. God, please don't put me in that situation. I don't want to be in that situation. But this is the reality of it. That's how much I love my daughter. So because of that, I give my daughter nonstop emotional support. She thinks she's a princess. She's 4. She is. She is a princess in every capacity. And I tell her that. She's an intelligent princess. She's a beautiful princess. You're a smart princess. You're a powerful princess. You're a confident princess. You're a leader. Because me giving her that, that's what she thinks she is. So why would I turn her away from that? Why would I ruin her sense of self? She thinks she's a princess. Okay, you are. Princesses have responsibilities. One of the books we were reading the other day, it was a princess book, 5-minute Disney princess stories. Stories really like 15 minutes. And I think it was Cinderella. And Cinderella was talking about how princesses got to do community service. Princesses got to help out the needy. Princesses got to put other people before them. And I told my daughter, I said, that's servant leadership. It's the exact same thing that daddy does in basketball. It's the exact same thing daddy did with music and with his creator career. Servant leadership. I'm serving people as a leader. As a parent, that's all a parent is servant leadership. That's all you do. You serving all the time. You're not in charge. You are in charge, but you're not in charge. You know what I mean? You making all the decisions, but you making all the decisions based off your love for your child. For me to love my daughter at the level that I do, I had to get myself out the way. I had to get my own ego out the way. Any emotional blockage I had to get out the way. Any relationship that was getting in the way of me giving her everything she needs, all of me, I had to get rid of, or I had to heal that pain. Because I don't want to hold what other people have done to me against her, because she ain't done nothing to me but love me unconditionally. Like how God loves us. That's how my daughter loves me, and that's how I love her. And as a parent, you got to do the exact same thing with your basketball son. His sense of self is in basketball. Everything he sees is basketball. His entire identity is basketball. And the only 2 people in the world that can take that from him, take his identity from him, are mommy and daddy. You have to give him emotional support you ain't going to be able to give anywhere else. Basketball is going to break his heart. Basketball is going to make him cry in ways you've never seen. Basketball is going to disappoint him. Basketball is going to break his body. Basketball is going to test his mind. It's going to test his emotions. It's going to test his discipline. And you have to be the unwavering emotional support. Whatever his basketball dreams are, you have to believe him too. If he thinks he's going to the NBA, just like my daughter's a princess, your son's an NBA player. You do not have the right to tell him he's not. Because you don't know, because you ain't God. It is your job to cultivate his gifts. And if you think believing in his dreams is cockapooey, your son's going to resent you. Because the whole world's telling him he ain't going to the NBA. Everybody at school, all the coaches, all the friends, all the basketball people, social media, we need to stop pushing. You ain't going to the NBA. It's only 400 spots. You don't know nothing. It's 400 spots. Somebody got to get them. It ain't the same dudes every year. So who are you to block that from your child if that's his goal? Everything you want from your son is tied in this basketball dream. You want him to be a good student? He has to be a good student if he wants to get on the court. You want him to go to school every day? He has to go to school every day. He wants to get on the court. You want him to listen to you? He got to listen to you, and he got to listen to his coach. His coach is holding him more responsible than you are. His coach is talking crazy to him, stuff you don't even say to him. He's, yes, sir, because he loves the game. You got to get out of your own way. You got to get your own ego out the way. Whatever pain you got to get rid of it. Whatever your mama and daddy said to you, they ain't got nothing to do with your baby. They ain't got nothing to do with his dream. Don't let your insecurities, your lack of confidence get in the way of his. Because you want your son to be better than you, right? That's what I want for my daughter. I want her to be better than me. So I got to give her all of me. I got to serve her. I got to be humble all the time. And I don't mean getting ran over. You're a parent. You know better. You know when they testing you versus when you need to be supporting and serving them. And in this world, with everything you're going to deal with the coaches, with the AAU programs, with the scouts, with the media, with everything that comes with this basketball, your son has to know that he has unwavering, unconditional, emotional support for his dream from you. He's shooting for the moon, and you need to be the stars that he lands on. The second sacrifice the parents have to make, basketball parents have to make, is all your free time. Basketball is in hours when you are off of work. Your son is 12. He can't get to the gym by himself. And if he wants to make it to the NBA, he got to be getting up shots. He got to be making 200, 300, 400, 500 shots a day. That means he has to get to a gym. He can't drive, so who has to take him? Whether it's 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't care what time you got to get to work. You got to be the emotional support. Remember, you get up. He ain't going to want to get up. He going to be tired. He going to want to sleep in. He doesn't see it. As a parent, you have to see the future. You have to know the seeds and the routine that you are setting right now. Son, if you want to accomplish great things in this world, you have to sacrifice yourself. So you got to sacrifice that comfort of sleep, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go get shots up. We might have to go get shots up at 10 o'clock at night. Our Saturdays and Sundays going to be workouts and nutrition and stretching and mind focusing, and whatever it is that you want to put inside of your son's plan, it's going to be all your free time. You're not going to have no free time. You shouldn't have any free time. Your free time needs to be dedicated to your kid. And I know you work a lot. I know you got friends. I know you got family. I know you got all that. But this is a finite time in your child's life. This don't last forever. This does not last forever. I would say it's probably from ages 8 to 16. Then after that, he's going to be doing everything he needs to do on his own. But you got to plant the seeds right now. These 8 years of sacrifice of your free time, you got to give that to your children. And I can tell you this right now. I don't care what happens in his basketball career. He's going to know that his parents were there with him every step of the way. And no matter if he makes it to the NBA or not, no matter if he gets a college scholarship or not, no matter if he goes to an elite high school or not, the fact that you poured into him and he was there and you supported him and you gave up your free time, you gave up your weekends, you gave up your late nights, you gave up your early mornings. He ain't never going to forget that, ever. He's going to return the favor to his kid when the time comes, your grandbaby. And the third sacrifice that basketball parents have to make, this is the toughest one, it's your finances. You know, if y'all like me, I didn't come from money. My parents are middle class. And we were fortunate to be middle class. A lot of y'all middle class, lower class, whatever you living on, government assistance, whatever it is, whatever finances you have, whatever extra money you have, that has to go towards your child's development for his skills. Whether it's shooting camps, whether it's dribbling camps, whether it's a trainer, whether it's, clinics, whether it's games. If you got to pick up a second job, then you need to do that. You got to find you another hustle, then you got to do that. You have to find ways to finance this. Because a lot of parents think that if someone comes to them because their son is uber talented, everything's going to be paid for. That's not the case. If you're depending on somebody to pay for your 14, 15-year-old son because he's talented, your son's not going to make it anywhere. He might get a scholarship, maybe. You have to be the one. You have to be the purveyor. You have to be the agent. You have to be the catalyst. You have to be the financier. You have to do that. And it's tough. It's extremely tough. But like I just said about the free time, you're talking 8 years of sacrifice. 8 years for a lifetime. It's probably going to be the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life. And up to this point, you're talking about an 8-year-old to a 16-year-old. It's definitely the hardest thing he's ever had to do in his life. Whatever map you set out, whatever sacrifices you make, whatever he sees you doing, that might be the catalyst that makes him go even harder. To make it to the NBA, you need someone who truly believes. And you need to have some sort of boost that when you get on that court, you just go to a whole nother level because you're playing for something bigger than yourself. If you're only playing for yourself, you're not going to last. But if you're playing for your family, you're playing for that last name, you're playing for love, you're playing for God, you're playing for Jesus, that's something that's bigger. Your finances are right in that. It's going to hurt. There's going to be vacations you can't take. There's going to be cars you can't buy. There's going to be clothes, going to be shoes you can't buy. As a parent, that's how it is anyway. Instead of buying him stuff for Christmas, get him 10 sessions with a trainer. Instead of going on this vacation, Send him to a shooting camp for a week. All those things matter. And you can't depend on the coach. You can't depend on the siblings. You can't depend on the friends. Your son is going to want it from you. And whatever you believe, that's what he's going to think he can achieve. Whatever you don't believe, that's where his dream's going to stop. If you don't think he's a college basketball player, guess what? He ain't going to be a college basketball player because you don't believe it. If you don't think he's a varsity player, guess what? He ain't going to be a varsity player. If you don't think he's an NBA player, in your heart, it ain't going to happen either. Your son looks up to you. Your son values your opinion. Your son wants to make you proud. Your son wants to take care of you. Your son looks at it like it's me and my parents and my family against the world. This is a rites of passage. This is how he becomes a leader. This is how he becomes a patriarch. You're setting him up for success, but you got to pour into him in a level that you probably have not poured into anything or anybody else ever. And it's hard. It's extremely hard. But you're a basketball parent. This is a gift. This is an opportunity. This is a blessing. Because everybody don't have this. Everybody don't get in this situation. And I don't care what skill level that your kid's at. As a parent, if you make these sacrifices, regardless of what happens with his career, he's going to look back over his life. He's going to be forever grateful that he had a parent that loved him unconditionally and supported his dreams wholeheartedly. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true.